Hello and welcome. Today we are going to look at the new 2024 tables in Google Sheets. Now, some of you may have noticed this new table option. It depends on what kind of account you have and if it happens to be rolled out. As of now, which is in May, Google actually just put this new update on their blog. I'll put a link to this, but basically is introducing tables. Before, we were able to format what we would call in quotations a table. This is something that actually allows you to build and create tables within Google Sheets, which is a very highly anticipated update. Now, just to look in here, this I feel like has the main useful, too long, didn't watch type of quick facts. You can apply formatting super quickly and easily, which is huge. You can use column types, which would have been something that we made in, the previous version with like drop downs or any of those data validation rules to make sure that if it's supposed to be a number, it is a number. Same for the unified menu. In the top, it'll just automatically have filtering, sorting, all sorts of things like that. And then the big thing that I personally think is huge is the table references. Before, you'd have to basically mark what are the cells, like in this example, COUNTIF B2 to B10. Now you can actually use COUNTIF and then whatever the table name is, and then whatever column you want, priority. And as the table increases in size or changes, that data will automatically be updated for that. Now, you could always do that by, adding extra rows with the COUNTIF below it, but this is kind of the surefire way to easily get all of your data from that table you're referencing. So we'll kind of look at that here in a bit. The last thing that's kind of useful, and there's this here, and we'll of course show it, is this group by option. And it lets you look at a view of specific things, and it'll actually group it and aggregate your data based off of the column that you choose. So there's a lot of other things that you can do with this, and you can read this if you want. For the rollout, it sounds like it's going to just, be rolling out to your account. So if you don't see it yet, be on the lookout for it and be excited for it because it is a great update. Now, in mine with the workspace, I do actually have it, and I will make a copy of this, and you can play around with the table if you make a copy of the sheet that I will show in a little bit here. But again, it is totally up to you, and you just won't have it over on this side, and then you also won't have it up here. So they have pre-built ones, so we can go ahead and, try one of these. Like let's say that we have event tasks. So here, the first time it'll show you can change the column type. You can create custom views. So if you want like pre-event or day of event, you can have views based off of that. And then you can personalize your tables by color and then also by the name. So in this one, it's called Event Task 1. So if you want to reference this table, it's there. You can simply click there and change that. Same if you want to rename it here. You can turn on and off alternating colors. I'll leave that on. You can adjust the range of it too. So this does have that data range. Now, if you want to, you can do insert a table column to the left. I believe, and let's find out. I know, oh yeah, I'm just trying to undo. Let's see if we start new column. It'll automatically do it on this side as well, which is super helpful. And, you can have whatever data you want in there. You might have, names, whatever. Here, you can have smart chips too. So if you use those or you're familiar with them, you can add people or files, finances. You could have ratings, which I might actually do that, and it'll automatically change the entire column to that. And let's say you name, Bill, and you add a name in there instead. You're going to get errors because it has to be one of those following values for this specific one. Same for here, you'll have those preset ones. So if you put Bill, you're going to get an error. And similar to what you would use in data validation rules, you have the advanced options. You can choose what you want for those. I don't actually see the reject input, but you at least have that message there, and potentially those would be there. Normally, there's that rule, but in any case, it'll at least show you what's there and what's not. And then, of course, if it's one of the smart ones, it'll have that look. Again, to get to this similar stage, you'd have to do, in this case, like data validation rules on all of these. You'd have to set up the colors. You'd have to add a filter. You would have to sort it if you want. All of those things. And that's how you would get this. And that takes time. And while we've done that, if you've made tables in it, this is just really quick how to do it. So let's say we have this data here, and I kind of started it. I'm just going to Command A, select all of this, and then you can go to Format. If you have it, Convert to Table. And there, we have it all in this. You can change, to different text. You can bold or not, and you can see that it actually changes it for all of it there. If you just change one of these, you can still, change certain aspects of it. But it's nice where if you have the whole table, you can just automatically change that. And here, there's again these options that you have similar to what you have in here of data, and you can, sort it. So if you want to sort it by birthday, you can of course sort A to Z, and everything will get sorted there. If you want it by salary, you can do that, and you can start at A to Z and go from there. Now, in that, you can also filter columns. So maybe you want to just see technology, and there we have just technology, just like what we would have for the filtering here. So I'm just going to undo. All of that, again, is completely up to you with how you make it, because again, this isn't something new. You're able to use that by doing the filters. It's just all in one place, a lot easier to see. Same for views. You can create group views. This is new. Group views, you can choose, like maybe you want by department. And when you go there, it'll show all of the admin department. You can also see that the filter that I had previously with the salary was there. So maybe you want this Z to A, so the largest to the smallest. And you can see that that kept the department view still there, and it has the highest to lowest all the way down. So this is a very helpful way for you to view or give something to those. You can even say with this view, only show technology. So you have the technology grouped by salary, and you can save this view and you can call it grouped by, or I might just do technology salaries. And that will show those only. And you can, of course, switch other things, like you can choose the groups in other places, but that is going to be the view. If you push the X up here, just like if you used a normal view, it exits it, and now everything is here. The way that I had it before the view was salary lowest to highest. So it'll go back to that. If you ever want to go back to technology salaries, you can go here. You can also, of course, add another, and those will still be grouped there. And you can choose all of them. So that's a pretty nice new feature that wasn't really there. You could, of course, make that with a pivot table, but pretty cool, pretty easy to make, like how much faster it is to get your data into this nice place. Now, for the colors, I just have this default. You can switch it and, customize the tables too if you want different ones, but I'll just leave it with this green kind of standard. And just for fun, let's try one more by the color. Favorite color? I don't know why I have the question mark there. That is their favorite color. So here you can see, and then maybe we want to see Z to A. So this 1 year old, I guess. I think I meant, oh no, there's some, I just did a ran between birthday. So, this 1 year old is getting paid. Ignore the data in there. Some of it's not going to make sense. Like, there's probably some that are like hired before they were born, stuff like that. So ignore the numbers. They're silly. But in any case, I'm going to leave this view, group by favorite colors. Why not? Now, another thing is you can edit the column type. So right now there isn't one for this salary, but maybe you want this to be percent. Doesn't really make sense, but you can choose a percent, number, currency would make the most sense, and then dollars is where, mine is. You can see up here the little icon to show that. Same for this one, This could be a date. It's just a date. So now this is going to be based off of the calendar date and just gives some easy access to what they are. Again, if you change the types, just make sure it makes sense. Like if I do date time on this, you're going to get errors because those aren't date times. If it's text, that makes sense. It'll be the same as if there is none. Now, you can take a look at these and they're all pretty self-explanatory. People would make sense if they're people in your organization and you want the smart chip, but in this case, I don't. Checkboxes you can have. So maybe you want a checkbox added. So I'm just going to do checkbox. I'm going to edit the column type to a checkbox, and then you can see all the way down, we have that. And so now you can check the box. Don't really know what this means, but you can, of course, check them, and maybe it's you want to look into it, and then you can, filter the column to only be the trues. Then you can remove it, and we're back to seeing all of the data. Now, let's say you have someone new added. So new Newson. You can see from the formatting that it automatically adds it into this new type. So now we have this new first name in this, and you can just do a date, born today, let's say Blue, hired in 2022 somehow, and then technology. We'll give them that much money. There we go. And so this is a way that you can add data to this and just automatically does that, which is super helpful. Gets it in the right exact order or, formatting. And so super nice. Now, one of the things that I mentioned that I'm most excited for with this table is you can do equal table, and you can see now you can actually run calculations on certain spots. So maybe you want the table 1 salary. You push enter, and now we have the salary to the table. Now in this one, let's see if we can do bonus. And what we'd want to do is equal table 1 salary divided, or times, sorry. Well, let's say that this bonus is 0.5%. So you can make that. It's going to show the autofill. And now we have this bonus salary here in the table, and we can see how much that is. And you can also, if you want to actually see what the end result would be, is you could do that and then do plus. Let's put this in parentheses plus table 1 and then brackets salary. Enter. And now we have this new salary, and you might want to just say like salary and bonus or with bonus, just so that's clear what's going on with those numbers. So again, there's a lot of great things that you can do with that. It makes it a lot easier. Again, you can reference these if you want elsewhere, or you can perform calculations as you would, but having this automatically be there is great. And again, the referencing is useful. If you do table 1 and then use the all, you could get this error because right now it's not an array. Let's just put this in brackets to get it. And you can see this is just in the normal, but that is a way to have this entire array in there. So this would allow you to do functions like query and then that entire table, and then say select all limit 10. And maybe just for fun, let's select all order by, and then this you would have to use columns. So column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, limit 10. And then there's one header row. So the header row will be there. And what this will do is show the smallest salary to the largest salary and the bonuses and so on. And then if we want this order by column 6 descending order, then we could get the largest salaries versus the smallest. Now, in this, maybe we do now want this calculated field, salary and bonus, but just what the bonus is. So I'm just going to copy that, put this over here, and bring this all the way down. Since I didn't use that directly in there, I'm going to have to bring it all the way here and copy and paste that there. And let's just say bonus amount. And you can see, and this is where I'm excited for this, the table all actually adds that next column there. And that's huge to be able to have query functions and other formulas pulling that data in and updating even if new columns are there. Before, you would have had to start with B, and then you would have had to select all the way over here, and then you would just always have this extra information on the side that would be blank, but you couldn't edit, whereas now you can. Now, the con with this is, let's say we add another one right here, just added column, and you have text right there. It will become a reference because then this text here is manually, and you would have to insert one because this now cannot be edited. But what's nice is that if you have it on a new one and you have plenty of room and you're aware of that, you can just continue to add on to this table and you don't have to ever update this again. You don't have to worry. It doesn't matter how big this gets, so long as it's not going to cause a reference error. It's going to always find that table and pull that information. So that's great in these examples. Query, same for if you use this in a pivot table. So let's insert pivot table and then do table 1. Let's do existing sheet right here since I'm there. Create. It's going to pull all of those columns, the added column, even if I go here, and then I'm just going to move this a little more. Second new call. And now that's going to be added to this pivot table. So all of that data is just going to seamlessly connect to these different functions here, or pivot tables, functions, formulas, so on. Now, a couple of ones that I've explored and unfortunately, at least from my knowledge, doesn't work would be like the import function, import range to another sheet. It was not able to find that that was a table yet. It might change. That might be an addition. I think that would be a huge thing to be able to pull that just, seemingly like magic, all of the data from a table and that range. But I also get for, into a new one, it kind of makes sense if that isn't possible. I also believe, and I can try it again here because it might change, but it was not working for charts. So let me double check here though. So data range, table 1. So that is not working either. That said, generally speaking, when you start, edit chart, and then let's just select this range. And yeah, that makes sense. This chart doesn't make too much sense at this point. Let's aggregate. I don't want to remove all series. All right, I'm gonna make this make sense first. Let's do favorite colors. All right. For now, so we have favorite colors, and we can see the range is to L. And let's say I add a third column and add some more data at the bottom. So newer, Newson. Let's do, well, I can't really get any newer. That's fine. You can have the same. We'll just do the same stuff. 2023, 29. Good enough. So I added another M, and then I also added 204. So edit chart. It did pick up that extra one below, but it did not pick up this third column that I added. Now, it might be because it's null, and then if I, put some, let's see. Clearly, I haven't tested this out. No. Okay. So that's how I kind of thought it was working. So it'll continue to add more data as long as it's connected to this, but it's not going to get more of the range there. So hopefully those get changed where the data on here, you can have less range for tables. But again, as long as you just are doing the counts for colors, it'll continue to add, which makes sense. And then generally with columns, you're not going to have a new column that you automatically want to update and replace a column that's already, or a chart, that's already counting something specific like colors. But again, that is something to consider. And yes, so again, there's probably a lot more use cases I did not cover here. Well, there are. So these were kind of some of the favorite things that I have. I mean, really, I know I put a lot more detail into these ranges and referencing the tables, but I think that there a lot of the just niceness of it is it'll make your data look cleaner. It'll make your data more valid based off of what kind of column type there is, and being able to do that, being able to reference it, aggregate the information on there. And even let's go back to this technology salaries. So I did that. Oh, and I did switch this. And then it used to be technology. Okay. So when I do these here, well, we can see that those disappeared, probably because they were on. I'm just going to undo. What I'm looking at right now is we have this column chart. I'll put this here, still referencing that table. And then let's go ahead and filter this to just technology. If I go back over to here, you can see that this one still pulls the information from everything, even though this view is here. Like the data is still there, still referencing. And then similar here, if we make something like count a full name for each colors, it still has all 200 some names and colors, even though this view here is there, which does make sense based off of that. Let's say that we actually use this and filter it. So just technology. And so I'm just looking at a quick count of 54. You can see here, it is still including all of the data. So, keep that into consideration as you're working on those. But it's again nice that you can reference the entire data information that you want and then be able to get it. And of course, with this, if you wanted to, you could order by, and then you could, in the query function, could say, have a where statement to say where department is technology or whatever it is, just to allow for multiple different specific functions that you want within it. So hopefully you enjoyed this and found some use and sharing the excitement of this. As I mentioned, I'll have a link to this sheet if you want to take a look at this and you don't have the table formatting option yet to convert to a table. Hopefully you will in the next few days with whatever account that you have. Feel free to leave a comment about, well, what's another use case that you see for this, maybe that I didn't include, or another fun feature that it has. Love to hear it. Anyway, till the next video. Bye now.